Voracious. My mother was frequently heard to tell people with pride that I was a voracious reader, and as curious as I was, voracious was one of the first words that I looked up in the dictionary. I guess it's because I was impressed with the idea that I, of all people, could be voracious, because it was such a powerful word, and I felt small and helpless and frightened of the world, so it was very compelling. It brought to mind the full-color, life-size images of where the wild things are, and I very much wanted to be the queen of all wild things, and the most zealous reader of all. The first book I really remember reading out loud was actually a Bible, because I had carried it in a small pouch to the Danish Ansgar Lutheran Church, and went through rows and rows of roses, climbed up 2 gray metal stairs to my grandmother's coffin, and when I opened my Bible, I read to her. By the time I finished reading 2 full pages, I kissed her cold cheek, and I believed that she was smiling down at me. I've been blessed to have had many wonderful teachers through the years, and I remember them all. Mrs. Penny read to us every single day. She had the largest paper I'd ever seen, and she pointed at words, which had been written in colored marker. And each of us had a chance to shout out certain words like dog or cat. Each student was also frequently given a cutout felt shape to hold while we sat for reading time. And whenever she showed us the picture that matched the color and shape we held, if we were following along and put up our hand in time, we were permitted to jump up and with a nod from Mrs. Penny place it on the board. My first grade year, my teacher was Mrs. Brown. I especially remember that year because I was embarrassed in front of all my classmates who laughingly watched as one exceedingly crisp and cold December afternoon Mrs. Brown had to carry a steaming mug across the playground and pour water onto my tongue to get it unstuck from the chain-link fence. We moved between 2nd and 3rd grade, and our new house was right across the street from the school. It was also across the street from the playground, the tennis court, and in the winter, the skating rink. The year was very special for me for reading because the librarian gave me a reading passport. It was a beautiful, formal-looking passport with letters in calligraphy that spelled out my name and a special pouch to keep it dry and safe. And I remember that the goal of the program was to read as many stories from as many different countries as possible. The library had a wonderful collection of stories, legends, myths, and fairy tales from all around the globe, and I loved those books more than any others I'd ever seen before. Not only did I love to imagine that I was the one stepping into the lives of those characters whose world was contained between the covers of a book, but I was also motivated to become the most voracious reader at that school too. After that, I came across The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum, and soon learned that there were in fact 14 books in the series, and I made it a goal to collect them all. It took me over 4 years to do that, but I still have them now, although they're threadbare and well-worn, over 30 years later. In fact, I can see them as I speak. I have never, however, in all these years, managed to figure out just where somewhere over the rainbow really is. I wish I could.